Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Raj, your HR pal. A quick intro about me. I come with 2 decades of experience in the field of HR, served with top IT majors. In today's video, let's talk about how you can improvise on your presentation skills and make a killer presentation, right? So I think all of you will acknowledge with me that presentation skills is something which is applicable for any segment of people, right? I mean, whether you are a student giving a classroom presentation or a business professional presenting a proposal to your colleagues, your customers, or your stakeholders, or someone in between, right? However, delivering an effective presentation is an essential skill. A successful presentation can help you to communicate your message effectively, engage with your audience, and achieve your goals. However, delivering a great presentation requires careful planning, preparation, and practice. Right? In today's session, we will explore some tips and techniques for delivering a successful presentation. From starting with a clear message to engaging your audience and everything in between. Right? So we will cover the essential skills that you will need to make the presentation that is engaging, memorable, and effective. So if you are looking to improve your presentation skills or simply want to learn more about how to deliver a great presentation, then stay tuned for this informative and helpful session. In today's video, I will share you 10 tips and techniques that will help you deliver a killer presentation. Number 1, the first impression. And remember folks, the first impression is the most important. Right? The impression that you create at the start will go a long way throughout the presentation session. How do you do that? 1, you got to portray yourself being confident. Because if you have to grab the attention of the audience, then they have to believe that you're confident and knowledgeable on the topic or content that you intend to present. Second, have eye contact with the audience. Having eye contact with the audience will help the audience to know that you are confident. Third, be well groomed, right? Having the right attire, the professional attire, will make you feel confident throughout the presentation session. Fourth, speak clearly and concisely, right? So starting your presentation with a clear and concise message is critical to capture your audience attention and ensuring that they understand the purpose of your presentation. Your message should be short and memorable. That summarizes the main point of your presentation. It should be easy to understand and relevant to your audience. To develop a clear and concise message, you should first identify the key message that you want to communicate. This message should be focused on the core idea or objective of your presentation. Once you have identified your key message, you should then think about how to convey it in a concise and engaging way. Now, here are some tips on how you can develop a clear and concise message. Keep it simple, right? Avoid using jargons or technical terms that your audience may not understand, right? So use plain language and keep your message simple and easy to understand. Second, make it relevant. Your message should be relevant to your audience and address their needs, right? So consider what your audience wants to know from you and what they hope to gain from your presentation. Third, make it memorable, right? So your message should be memorable and easy to remember. Use powerful language and imagery that will stick in your audience minds. And remember folks, the very first attribute I mentioned for making the first impression right was confidence. And confidence comes with the amount of practice that you've done on the presentation delivery. And hence, practicing is most essential. We will talk about it at length at the later part of this video. Okay? The next is to have courtesy. Use the magic words like please, thank you, have a request tone. Greet them, appreciate them for coming forward and being participative. And the more and more the courtesy words that you use, the more and more the audience will come closer to you, right? And hence, remember folks, having the right first impression is most important, because that will help you grab your audience attention towards you and set the tone for the rest of your presentation. Hence, follow these tips so that you can develop a message that is focused, engaged, and memorable. The second tip is to know your audience, right? Knowing your audience is crucial for delivering an effective presentation, right? When you understand your audience, you can tailor your message to their needs, interests, and the knowledge level, right? When I say knowledge level, you got to know the proficiency that your audience holds to the topic that you are intending to present. Example, let's say if your audience is already at an intermediary level and you intend to make the presentation on the topic for a beginner, then the entire presentation purpose gets defeated, right? So hence it's important for you to understand the knowledge level of your audience on the topic that you intend to present. This will help you engage your audience and make the presentation more relevant and valuable for them. Here are some ways on how you can know your audience. First, research about your audience, right? So before your presentation, research about your audience to learn more about their demographics, interests, and knowledge level. Second, identify their needs and concerns. Think about what your audience wants to know from you and what they hope to gain from your presentation. This will help you focus on your message and ensure that it is relevant to their needs and concerns, right? The third, adapt to their communication style. Consider how your audience prefers to receive the information, right? Do they prefer it via visual aids or written materials? I mean, we will talk about it in detail in the later part of the video as well, but understand from them, do they prefer a more formal or informal presentation style, right? So it's important so that you can tailor it to their needs and make the presentation more effective. Fourth, use examples that resonates, right? So incorporate examples and stories that are relevant and relatable to your audience, right? This will help you explain your points and make your presentation more engaging, right? If your examples are more closely connected to your audience, then your audience will also start getting closer to the content that you are wanting to deliver through the presentation. The third tip is to structure your presentation, right? So structuring your presentation is important for delivering a clear message to your audience, right? So a well-structured presentation will help your audience understand your key points and stay engaged through the presentation, right? Here are some tips for how you can structure your presentation, right? So there are three phases. One, the introduction. The second is the main theme. Third is the conclusion or a summary, right? When I say introduction, the introduction is very important because this is where you set the tone of your presentation and grab your audience attention, right? And hence start with a strong opening statement that captures their interest and provides the context of your presentation, right? You can also use this time to introduce yourself, establish your credibility, take time in getting the audience introduce themselves, right? And beyond this, as part of introduction, it is also important for a presenter to understand the objective of the presentation, right? I mean, as a presenter, what do I want to achieve out of this presentation session, right? Second, what do I want my audience to know? How will I keep my audience engaged throughout the session? What are the activities that I will give my audience to make them more participative throughout the session. And what do I want my participants or my audience to carry once the presentation is completed, right? The second is the main theme of the presentation, right? When I say the main theme, this is where you provide the details and evidence to support your message during the presentation, right? You should organize your presentation into clear and logical sections, right? Each with a specific purpose. Use headings, subheadings to guide your audience and help them follow along, right? So throughout this main theme, main body of the presentation, okay, share your personal views, share your recommendations to each of the contents that you showcase, right? And take inputs, opinions, brainstorm so that the audience also feels engaged, right? Wherever possible, try to bring real life incidents and some testimonials. It could be from your career, it could be from the experiences that you have gone through, it could be your friend's experience, etc., right? I mean, bring some sort of real life scenarios to support the message that you are trying to convey to them, right? I mean, wherever there have been evidences, facts supporting what you say, right, the message goes very strongly into the minds of the audience, right? The third, conclusion, right? The way introduction is very important, similarly conclusion phase of the presentation is also very, very important. And this is the phase where you summarize your main points and provide a clear call to action, right? So this is your opportunity to leave a lasting impression on your audience and motivate them to take action based on your presentation, right? You can also use this time to thank your audience for their attention and answer to any questions that they may have, right? So this is very important, okay? I reiterate, it is important for you to summarize the main points that one needs to carry from this presentation session, right? How it can be used on their daily life. Third, how they can apply with ease the pointers that you have explained in your presentation. Okay, so here are some additional tips for structuring your presentation. I again repeat, keep it simple. I think throughout your presentation, in any phase of the presentation, it's very important to keep things very simple. Don't overcomplicate your presentation with too many information or too many ideas, right? Focus on your main points and use examples to illustrate your message, right? The second is to use visual aids. Visual aids like slides, charts or graphs, right? This can help you convey your message more effectively. I think as I mentioned earlier as well, we will talk about it in detail at the later part of the presentation. However, use transitions to guide your audience from one section to another, right? So that it's easy to understand. Use transitions, right? So using transitions will guide your audience from one section of your presentation to the next, right? So this will keep your audience engaged and prevent them from getting lost, right? Now, overall, structuring your presentation is very crucial. It is important to ensure that your structuring is clear and in a logical way, right? So that you can deliver a more effective message to your audience. This will also help you capture your attention, build their interest, and motivate them to take action based on your presentations. The fourth tip is to have a prompt, right? And this prompt is not for the audience, it is for the presenter, right? So have short bullet points, make a note of keywords, even if you're using a PowerPoint slides, right? Ensure that you keep your pointers or keywords very short, right? Because the intent of the presentation is not for the audience to see the slides, rather it is to look at you, and these slides should only be a prompting pointers for you, right? And the detailed messaging or the detailed explanation should come from you, right? Otherwise it will be more of reading the presentation, and maybe the audience might not feel more interested towards the presentation session. And hence it is important to ensure that your slides have only the keywords and not the details. All right.